All right.
Hey, good Monday morning. This is Karen O'Neill from very sunny, very warm Mexico, and I haven't been on for a while, so I'm so excited to see you guys. Had different things happening like internet stuff, but this is the day when we gather together and we talk about the magic that is happening with the patches we're using. And of course, it's not magic, it is science. But have you ever noticed how magical science can seem? And we love to share our stories because they're phenomenal. They're groundbreaking. There's never been anything like this before, never anywhere that I've ever heard of or know of. And one of these days, I'm going to share my husband's story again, because it is like magic. And the first few minutes, we're going to really focus on X39 because X39 is an all-encompassing patch. It really covers so many things that we really insist, unless you have extreme problems, that you start for your first 3 months just on X39 so that you can see everything that it can accomplish. But we also want to remind you, because the stories are so phenomenal, that we do not profess to treat, diagnose, or cure any illness. What these patches do is we just put them on our bodies and they help our bodies work optimally. I mean, optimally. Even if you have a bad lifestyle, they're still going to work. If you have a good lifestyle, they're going to work even better. Get that exercise and food down right and add the patches, and it really, really produces results. So there is a spot where you raise your hand. I'm not sure on my phone. It's different on everybody's, but there's a little spot where you raise your hand. And if you could start raising your hand so I can see who is going to be the brave person or people who are going to start and bless our community with your stories, because your stories are a blessing. They help us. They give us new ideas, new inspirations, new like, aha, I didn't know that would happen. And so who's going to come on first? Let's see those hands. Gregory, I'm not seeing hands. Is that me? I'm going to switch around here. I can't hear you, Gregory, but I'm not seeing any hands.
Heidi, go ahead.
Thank you. Maybe I need to be co-host.
My hand. I just recently have a reminder of my very first X39 story, which I had never thought I would want to share until today. So I'm going to try and do this without getting teary-eyed, but I do want my tears to show. So I just barely saw a receipt from the day 2 years ago, almost next week, that I witnessed the burial of my father. But the very first time I wore X39 on February 22nd, 2022, I did not have a childhood nightmare of being traumatized by my father. And I know that it was X39 because I have not had that childhood nightmare since February 22nd, 2022. And I love X39 for
it. Thank you.
Awesome.
Heidi.
Awesome. And thank you for those very real tears. That is genuine emotion. And thank you. And I see lots of hands up now. I was on the wrong page. Anyway, thank you. And God bless you. Tina. Hi, Tina. I haven't seen you for a while. That's because I've been gone. Come on in, Tina.
Good morning, guys. I have a question for you this morning. I have a customer that has two teenagers, age 15 and 16, and they're very active in sports. They strength train and they practice basketball 3 times a week. Since they're already in their teens and already producing their own stem cells, I'd like to know what benefits they'll still get from X39 and X49. And since they're strength training, would you recommend more of the X49 as opposed to the X39? Any feedback would be appreciated.
Tina, I'm going to tell you a story about my grandson who was 23 the first time he tried the patches. He's golfed since he was 6 years old. He put on the X39. He went golfing. He came back ecstatic. He said he was the most focused, had the best golf game that he had ever had in his entire life. He went on to train and was accepted in Navy SEALs, but because he got married and had kids, he's not a Navy SEAL, which is good, but he is in the Navy. But he was only 23. So yes, it helped. I don't know about the X49, if it would be that necessary, but it wouldn't hurt. I would maybe put that on 2 or 3 times a week at least, because it does help build muscle. It's especially good for those of us who at certain ages, it's much harder to build muscle. So I'm not sure. Who else has some insight in that?
Yeah, I'd like to comment on that, Tina. I think the X39, one of the things X39 does that us boomers and, us, the aging population enjoy is the new renewed stem cells. But there's so many other things that copper peptide does that's beneficial for people at every age. So yes, X39, and thanks for that story, Karen, that's wonderful. And the 49 is proven to help people build muscle. And, so if you got young athletes, I think the X39, 49 would be a great combination.
And thank you
Yeah.
very much, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Great
can I
question.
just
I like
add
that.
to it?
And the
I
nice
think
thing is, sure.
Go ahead, John.
Yeah, just real quick, their recovery will be phenomenal. So that would be one of the biggest things for X39 and 49, the recovery that they'll experience the next day will be amazing and
Okay,
what they
thanks,
can
John.
do.
Okay, thank you, John.
Thanks for that question, Tina. I'm sure it helped a lot of people. So thank you.
Uh-huh.
All right, let's go with Maria. Maria. Don't forget to unmute, Maria.
You hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, my name is Maria. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona. I just barely new in this business. Sunshine bring me here. So I just getting everything, all the information, know about it. So, but I'm happy to be here.
Welcome, Maria.
Thank you. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, welcome. And come and tell us your story when you get one, okay? And
Yeah.
Darlene, mi socia.
Hi.
That's my partner in Spanish, socia.
Well, I was super excited. I just got back from the Aruba trip and I have fair skin. I've always sunburned very easily. And I've noticed that X39 has helped tremendously. I took sunscreen with me. I put it on a few times, but the majority of the trip that I was there and we stayed an extra week, I never got a sunburn. And it was amazing. And my husband has pretty much bald on the top of his head, and he usually burns his head, and he didn't get sunburned either. And I don't think he put sunscreen on, but one time when I sprayed it on him when he was going on his excursion. So that X39 is really helping in ways that you don't even think about it helping. So if you've got fair skin and sunburn easily, X39 is going to help a lot.
You're exactly right, Darlene. And David did bring that up in one of his meetings, that it really helped you tolerate the sun better. And if you want a little extra help, eat a big old tomato before you go out too, or tomato sauce. Lycopene also helps. So you can get a double dose. Anyway, just thought I would add that in. But I'm the same way. I live in Mexico. I don't ever wear sunscreen. And you can tell I'm not sunburned. I got one sunburn once and it was gone the next day. So it was just slightly pink. Thank you, darling, for sharing that, because
David
most
did
people
mention that
don't think about
in
it.
Aruba.
Yeah,
David talked about that he doesn't burn like he used to either.
right. Yeah, it's awesome. It's what, and that burning is the sun damage. So that's also another youthful way to keep our youthful faces. Thank you, Darlene. Hey, Gary, come on in.
Good morning, everybody. Now that you say that about the sun, I'm experiencing the same thing. I didn't realize it, but I don't burn as easily either. So cool. So I was going to share an experience about when my wife was ill and dying of breast cancer. I didn't take as good a care of my teeth. I was used to brushing several times a day and flossing. And so they went downhill really fast and I got pyorrhea, which was very disappointing. So I've struggled with that for years. And I just had a cleaning this last week and my gums were receding before, and there was the bone starting with bone loss. And see what else. the receding gums, the bone loss, and some bleeding when she would work on them. So this time when I went, there was no bleeding. When she worked, she said, I'm amazed. She said, you're not bleeding at all. And my gums are coming back and getting pinker and healthier. And my teeth are shades whiter than they've ever been. Minerals, I had minerals fixed in my teeth when I was younger and they were brownish. So now my teeth are whiter and brighter than they've ever been. So I was excited. I thought, cool. I told her about the X39 and I hope to share some with her. But anyhow, I was pleased because the pyorrhea is a terrible thing, but she said it is improving, probably 50% improvement. So I got a fist bump from the dental hygienist. So pretty cool.
That's amazing. And Gary, down the road, that is going to save you a ton of money. Woohoo!
Oh,
Way more
yeah.
than what you spend on the X39.
Totally. Thank
You know, people think it's a cost. It's not a cost. I'm telling you, you're going to spend a lot less money on things because of these patches.
And the
All
dental
right,
work, as we all know, is so high. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. Even in Mexico, it's high enough. Not that
Right.
bad, though.
Take care
All
down
right.
there.
Thank you. Thanks, Gary. And
you.
I'll see you all in October. Hey, Sunshower, come on in.
Hey, Karen, thanks for being with us all the way in Mexico. Where are you anyway?
La Cruz de Guanacaste and La Bahía near, this will be what you'll recognize, near Puerto Vallarta.
Okay. I bet
I'm
you
across
Maria,
the bay, right
Okay.
across the bay from Puerto Vallarta.
I bet you Maria, who's my brand new brand partner and spoke, probably knows right where that is, right, Maria?
Yes.
So I wanted to
Está
welcome.
bien, María. Entonces vas a venir a visitarme un día, ¿eh?
Ajá, claro que sí.
Okay, I'm sorry, Sunshower, go ahead.
No, I love it. I just wanted to reintroduce her. I also know her as Terry, so I guess might be two names from time to time for her. And another new brand partner is with us too. I think he's on his phone. His name is Bill Rose. And no, we're not related. So welcome to them. I can attest to the sunburn thing. I'm pretty fair, as you can see. And I appreciate knowing about eating a tomato before going out in the sun. That's a good one. But I also use our Alavida. And usually the night, if I find that I've burned a bit, I'll put some of the night Alavida lotion on my shoulders or wherever I got burned. That's really helpful. I happen to agree with Gary about the dental hygienist experience recently was way better than usual. My eyesight, the ophthalmologist is like, what? You don't need any of that kind of surgery that we do for the film that you get over the eyes at about this age. I don't know if you could tell, some of you know my hair is getting darker. You've been on these calls, but it's getting darker and thicker, and it's really fun to get younger. Just live younger, guys. There's nothing as good as that, as good health and feeling great at this boomer age.
Yeah, let's face it. Nobody wants to live to a really, really old age unless you're healthy. And then let's go for it. We got a lot to contribute in this world. Thanks, Sunshower. John, it's your turn.
Yeah, thank you. I have two quick X39 stories. I'm on today I'll be on my 6th out of 7th day of playing golf. I played in 2 tournaments, and we actually, out of 72 teams, we ended up, I wear the X39, the X49. I poured it on. I used the energy enhancer as well as Nirvana. I just thought I'd experiment and pour it on. And we not only were leading the tournament, it's a 3-day tournament, the second one. We went down to the 18th hole and we ended up in 3rd place, but out of 72 teams. And 3 days unfortunately, they are ailing and have all kinds of issues with their health, and I was getting stronger. I just felt so good with the X39, X49 combination. So you know, and I'm playing golf right now, getting ready to play again today, and I'm ready. So that's one story. The second story I have is one of my golfing buddies, his significant other could not has for 3 years has not been able to sleep very well at all. She wanted to avoid NyQuil. She wanted to avoid medications, CBD. She said she wanted to avoid all of that. He ended up enrolling as a diamond last week, and he's been texting me, telling me that she's in her 5th day of perfect sleep. She cannot believe it. He said it's a miracle. It's absolutely a miracle that she can sleep so well after all these years of virtual. She's using the X39, and then at night she puts.
You froze, John.
Absolutely.
I hope. Thank you, John. We heard most of that. That's awesome. And you know what? Sleep out sleep aids, like actual sleep aids, is so much better than sleep with those sleep aids. So woohoo, that's awesome. And we're halfway through, and you can bring in other patches now. So thank you so much, John. I always love to hear your stories too. Everybody's stories are so great. So let's go Dr. Diane, and then let's go Jennifer. And I won't go any farther ahead because then I forget.
Good morning. I'm glad we're at the point where I can share other patches, although my first story is about my husband. He had a surgery on his face that was, he had stitches right on his cheek, and it looked pretty bad, and I was away for the weekend. So he was just using the X39 and X49s, and it still didn't look good. And then he went back to have the stitches removed, and they also treated some other areas from sun exposure. So he came home, I think not last Monday, but the Monday before, and said, oh, his face looked so bad, so red, and where they took the stitches out, it was wrinkled and really red, and he was like, my face feels like it's on fire. So he had the X39 and X49s on, and I put the IceWave patches. I put one IceWave under his ear on the left, the brown one, and then I put the other one, the same spot on the right. And he said it felt a little better, and I moved it a ½ an inch. And he looked at me, he was like, I don't feel any burning on the right anymore. And he was like, the left is feeling a little bit better. And then I moved it a little bit further, and he was like, oh my God, it's just a tiny bit on the left. And that's where he had the incision. So I went and took a shower. When I came back, he was like, the pain is gone, and it never came back. So there's no burning from that procedure that he had. I just spent a week with this is my second story. I spent a week with my son and his family, and he gets terrible migraines. He just retired from 20 years of service in the military. So he's got some issues from serving overseas. So he was having a headache the one day, and his neck was bothering him, and he's using the patches, but not consistently. So I made sure he had an X39 on, and I did the same thing with the IceWave, just put it like down by his ears and just moved it. And he just gave me the same look that my husband did, like just looked at me like, what? You just moved it, and it's almost the headache's almost gone. He's just like looking at me like I was magic or something. I said, you just have to experiment with these, and sometimes different patch placement can make all the difference. And this was another story. One of my brand partners got some IceWave patches when she was in the last time I saw her for her neighbor. And this was what she wrote to me. She said, I gave IceWave to my neighbor who's been suffering horribly from a growth on her leg that they were treating with chemical stuff. And she was in so much pain. And my brand partner said it was black and it looked horrible. So she put 2 of the IceWave on her leg near the wound and gave her instructions. And she said, she got back to her and she said she was still hurting that night. So she put 2 more on the bottoms of her feet. She was almost in tears the next day because she had been in so much pain and it was gone. She said she woke up to a whole new world. She just texted and said she can't believe how well they work. So that's an amazing story, just with, like a temporary use of IceWave for somebody that's been suffering for a while now.
That's wonderful. Pain is so debilitating. And when you can get out of it, you can live your life again. Thank you. And when you move the patches, did you move them down? Did you say down a little
No,
bit?
I just moved, like the first one I put like right here, right under the ear. And then I did the same. I just back a little bit. And then
Kind
maybe
of back and down,
I
it looks
hadn't
like.
moved it at all. Maybe
Okay.
a quarter of an inch.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit, just because I felt that there was some area. Actually, I did another treatment of my son before I left. His neck was really bothering him, and shoulder, probably from like we moved my grandson out of his college dorm on Saturday. So it was a busy morning. So he was lifting a lot. So it was really bothering him. So I just put them like both on the same side of his neck. He had the X39 on, but I put the Ice Waves on both sides of his neck. And he said he got about 40% relief. And I said, well, you can
awesome. Thank you.
Move the patch. You might get even better. I'm not as good with the patch placement yet, but I'm learning. So.
Well, I'm glad that you brought that up by moving it a little bit. And I know I've told you this at least 3 times, but I bet there's a whole lot of new people on who haven't heard it. When you are having neck and shoulder stiffness and pain, put a carnosine on the back of your neck up where you usually put X39 and put a glutathione under the belly button. Every time I do that, I just kind of forget I had neck and shoulder pain. So it must work. I totally forget about it. And I love to say that because it's such a common place where we hold our stress. So carnosine on the back of the neck, glutathione under the belly button, wonderful for neck and shoulder pain. So thank you. And now we move on to Jennifer.
Thank you for saying that. Oh my gosh, Karen, because every time I go into the massage therapist, she says, oh my gosh, your neck and shoulders are like a board. And I don't even notice it, except when she starts working on it, I realize how tight, and it's painful because I've been holding it. So I'm going to try that. Oh my gosh, I had a delightful conversation with a customer last night. Originally, over almost a year and a half ago, he decided to try X39 because he felt like he lived on pain medication. He's really physical in his work, and he does a lot of lifting, and he's on his feet all day. And he had chronic pain in his feet and ankles, as well as his hands and forearms. And within a couple of weeks, that pain diminished so much. He said, I bet I only have 10% of it right now. So he was very excited, and he had a few other great demonstrations. Well, we talked for the first time in a few months last night, and I said, what's new? And he said, well, I had switched over from X39 to X49 because of what, he wanted to save money and not use both. And he was more interested in building muscle and getting rid of the little inner tube around his waist. And he said, the interesting thing is the little inner tube is shrinking, but the discomfort in my feet is coming back. And I said, so what did you do about it? And he goes, I had some X39s left over. So I went ahead and just added them in and used both. And in the last couple of weeks, not only do my feet no longer hurt again, but I'm feeling like now I get why you say they work together in synergy. And so that was super exciting. And so now he says, if I can get my hair to grow back on the top of my head, that would be awesome. So he's working on that. I have a comment about Aruba also. Oh my gosh, any of you brand partners need to just get there, get to the next trip, because I am so used to getting a burn the first time, and I didn't. So that story, Darlene, that you shared was exactly my story. I hardly used, I was worried the first day that I didn't have sunscreen because I just thought I'll get it there, and I couldn't find it anywhere. So anyway, on the beach, the very first night, David Schmidt And besides all his wonderful sharing, he said, the reason you got a gift, everybody got a gift of a sleeve of X39 for preventing, and supporting the skin cells and things like that from burn. We got a sleeve of glutathione, which is, it helps to keep free radicals from occurring if you do get burned. And Alavita night cream as a soothing, calming thing that supports if you do get burned. Here we are at the equator. It blew me away. Does anybody remember what else he said about glutathione and X39? How important they are, not only for our skin, but what goes on chemically in our body from getting sun. Gregory, I would love it if you would share the part about, if you remember this, about the sand and the infrared and the ultraviolet and how we're like a little battery. Do you remember that part? No? Okay, I'll say what I remember. And anybody that was there, correct me. He said, the reason we feel so good when we go to a sunny place and we're at the beach is that sand heats up from the sun and it provides an infrared, and our feet are on the sand. And the ultraviolet light from above, it's like it creates the negative polarization like a battery. And when we're out in the sun with our feet on the ground, bare feet on the ground, we're recharging our battery. So not just metaphorically, but literally. And that's when he started explaining the gifts. Did I describe that right, everybody?
Great. And there was another part that he shared that I've been meaning to share with everyone. He also said, if you stand like this for 5 minutes with your palms facing the sun, it activates all of your acupressure points and meridians. So he says it's a great way to charge your whole body by just bringing in the light of the sun through the palms of your hand for 5 minutes.
And if it's happening because you close your eyes and wait for this red ball of light to show up right at your forehead. He goes, this is not woo-woo, guys. This is science. So for some people, it might be 30 seconds. For the next person, it might be 3 minutes, 5 minutes, or 10 minutes, but that is a sign that you're getting the full potency. Oh, thank you. That was fun.
Okay, I'm running down to the beach right after this call.
Thanks so much
It's
for that
over.
reminder, Gregory, because just the other point that he raised was that glutathione has the ability to repair DNA and damaged DNA by UV light. So there's more, because I took a bunch of notes, but thanks for that, Jennifer and Gregory.
Thank you, Ravel.
And Ravel, I was going to add to that as well, that yes, he said, in fact, the gifts that he gave us while we were in Aruba were specifically to prevent sun damage. And glutathione, if you wear it before you even go out in the sun, you can prevent damage by wearing it before you go out in the sun. So we were given all of the things, the X39, the glutathione. He gave us the lotions, Alavita lotion, nighttime lotion, if you did get burned. So those are all things that are beneficial for us if we get exposed to the sun or when we get exposed to the sun. Information.
Awesome. That was a lot of cool information. Since I live in a very sunny climate all the time, I'm happy to hear all that. I didn't know about the palm thing. Sunshower, is your hand back up?
It is, and I'll be really
Come on
quick.
in.
In the chat, Ann Baker reminded us to tell folks, especially if you're new, to stay well hydrated while you're wearing your patches. It helps flush things much better for you. And secondly, again, this is more for the new people because I've said this story many times, but I've been a consistent X39 wearer since, it's going on 3 years now. But last July, something happened that I would have never expected. I've not been able to smell my whole life, and now I can smell.
That is so powerful. So powerful. I'm glad you share it frequently because we need to hear that.
And just one other thing that I forgot to mention, you know, I have the ringing in the ears thing. And that is subsiding drastically, both the pitch and the volume of it. And that's, I believe, because I've been using carnosine on the mastoid, you know, right behind your ear. So, I mean, I've gotten other suggestions on these calls. And so some of the other suggestions are energy enhancers, and Eon, and switching off, you know, alternating. But the thing that's worked for me the best has been carnosine.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. And you know what? I don't see any more hands up, and it is at the bottom of the hour. So I think we're going to wrap it up. I want to thank everybody for coming. And I forgot to say, don't mention disease states. I think I only heard one the whole time. So you guys are doing so well, even in spite of my forgetfulness. And let's wrap it up and turn it back to Robin and Gregory. And thank you, thank you, thank you. It was such a delight to see you all today. Mwah.
Thank you.
Okay, so Robin's going to share with us in just a moment. She's coming over. She's been wandering around listening on the phone. And hold on. My phone was ringing. There we are.
Hi, everybody. What a great call. Thank you, Karen. That was wonderful. Thank you all. Welcome, Maria, and everybody else that's new. We're grateful to enfold you in our Live Younger community. And tonight we have our community call. And tomorrow night, Dr. Barbara is scheduled. I'm waiting for confirmation, but she should be there tomorrow night for our introduction. Oh, she said yes. So we got a confirmation. What are we doing tonight? Celebrating a new director?
Yes. Mhm.
We have a new director. We have to confirm and make sure she's available. But we have a new director, Rosemary Berkeley, who became a director while she was in Aruba. How fun is that? You go on vacation and you make money. You fall asleep and you wake up the next morning and you make money. It's a good business. So any final comments from you?
No, I think that wraps it up. You did a great job, Karen. Thanks everyone for your contributions and wonderful stories.
Yeah, and these stories, and this is a great place to bring your guests and your customers to the Monday morning call, because they will get inspired like we get inspired. And when people hear these stories, they can't not think of, oh, I know someone I want to share this with. So please feel free to invite your guests and customers to this Monday morning call.
All right. So if everyone would like to unmute and bid your farewell, we'll be about our day. Happy Monday.
Oh,
Thanks,
and
everybody.
thank you, Ravel.
Bye, thanks.
Thank you.
Have a great day, everybody.
Have a blessed day.
Robin, show your t-shirt.
Thank you guys for everything. You guys are awesome. Appreciate you so much.
Robin, can you show your t-shirt again? Your t-shirt.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Love you.
Thank you.
Robin, can you show your t-shirt?
Robin. There is more there. Yeah. But, no, my friend will call me again because she has also a mango and she called me last time too. Okay, bye-bye.
Okay.
Call me
Possible to forget.
mangoes.